Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. If buying a product makes you a shareholder, I'm pretty sure I'm due a ton of dividends. I have to go check. I might actually own a couple of coffee companies by this point. You'll see what I mean in our first story. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. A little twist. Back in the early 2000s, I worked for a cookware company. It wasn't the best stuff, but it wasn't the worst stuff. Some idiot put lifetime warranty on the pans. Okay, we aren't Calphalon people. It's like $60 for a set kind of stuff. We had this warranty thing that if you sent back the cookware and it wasn't misuse that led to it failing, we would replace it essentially. One day I got a call from a guy asking if we could replace his cookware. I give him my spiel about the warranty, etc., and he tells me, no, I'm going to send him a new set. I tell him company policy dictates we cannot do that, yada, yada, yada. He then says, so you're telling me this is how you treat your customers? As a shareholder of this company, I don't like being treated this way. I pause for a moment and do my best not to giggle and say, sir, we're a privately owned company. We don't have shareholders. Silence. Click. LOL. Good try. And our second story. You want me to check with the state regulating body? Okay. A few years ago, I worked for an international insurance company, ABC Company, to verify the license and training of agents looking to sell policies. Each state is allowed to dictate what license and training an agent must have before they're allowed to sell a policy, and of course, each state can be completely different. This means that what is acceptable in one state may not be acceptable in the state right next to it. This is important. So we have an agent who goes ahead and offers a policy to a client before they check to make sure they have everything they need to be compliant in that state. This happens a lot because it's not easy trying to remember which state requires what, and it does change from time to time. Not a problem, this can be fixed. So we call and email the agent to let them know what training they're missing, where they can take it, and to let us know once it's completed so that we can finish processing the policy. Of course, none of this is okay, and I end up getting the call from the agent, Jerkface, JF for the agent, and me for me. Going to paraphrase since I don't remember the exact conversation. Me. This is ABC Company. How can I help you? JF. You stopped a policy for training that I clearly have already taken. Just to be sure you see it, I sent it back to you in a reply to your email. Me. I see that. Unfortunately, the training that you already have isn't acceptable for policies that are sold in state TT. However, you can easily take the required training on JF. What do you mean? I sold a policy last month and my training was fine. Me. The policy was sold in state RR, where your current training is acceptable, but state TT has different requirements for the policy you're selling. This leads to a long back and forth where I tell him what training he needs and he thinks I'm lying and incompetent. I even go so far as to show him on the TT Department of Insurance website where it lists what training is required to sell this policy. Still, the agent lets me know what a disgrace I am to my company, family, and the world at large. JF, I can't believe this. I want you to send my training to the DI, and that way they'll verify that my training is fine. Then we can get this over with and I can move on to my super important stuff that I should be doing right now. Okay. At this point, I was done with this agent and his attitude. Now, I've been in this job long enough to know that if I send this in and ask if it meets exacting requirements, it'll trigger an audit of the agent's full training history, and that will include continuing education for that state. Pretty much the state puts on their surgical gloves, digs deep, and will find the agent for anything that's missing. So I follow the agent's instructions and send the training off to state for review. I advise the agent that this can take time, and I'll let them know as soon as I hear back. 2 weeks pass, in which time the agent keeps calling and asking us to tell the state to hurry up with their review. Sir, you unknowingly just sent the state to do a pro-state exam on your insurance license. They want to make sure that they don't miss anything. Soon the agent goes ahead and takes the required training so that he can finally get paid for the policy he sold, and then I'm sure promptly forgets about the training review he requested that I send in. After a month, I finally get a reply from the TT Department of Insurance. They advise that not only was the agent missing training in several previous licensing periods, but the state's also fining the agent $5 to $10K for those missed trainings. Oh, the state also wants this taken care of yesterday, or they'll start issuing additional penalties. I admit that I had a huge smile on my face as I forwarded that email to Jerkface. Sadly, I don't know how he took it, because we never heard from him again. And our next story. Father thinks he's entitled to me. This is about me, 28-year-old female, and my biological father. I don't know how old, male. As you can tell, our relationship is strained. I seriously don't know how old my father is. I guess I could calculate it, I just really don't want to bother. My parents divorced when I was super young, and I stayed with my grandmother and uncle, my father's youngest brother, and since I had no other male figures in my life, my uncle became dad. When I was 14, he married my mother and became my stepfather in a legal sense. But for the first 14 years, it was grandma, dad, and I, and court-ordered summer holidays. Dad seriously wanted the best for me, and he thought that keeping me in contact with my father and stepmother would be the best for me. Spoiler, it was not. It really effed me up. When I took too much dinner on my plate, I had to sit and eat it all. If I didn't manage, I had to wait till bedtime and then eat it for breakfast, cold. If I could not do it, lunch cold, then dinner. The most I remember, 3 days. I have IBS, so that was extra effed. I was locked in my room for basically anything. Still better than the innocent slaps. In the morning, when I awoke before them, every room other than a small guest toilet was locked. Once, my stepmother took all my pocket money from me because I spent it on useless trinkets. Trust me, I did not understand. I was always told my money is mine, and I can do with it as I please. Not that I got it from them, but my pocket money was from Dad. My half-brother came in the picture when I was 6. I'll never forget how I went to the bathroom in a fast food place before eating, and my brother ate my burger while I was gone. Their response? Survival of the fittest. I must have been 10 or 11, and no, I did not get anything else to eat, nor was I allowed to buy myself food. While all of this is not yet entitled, I feel those incidents paint a pretty good picture in terms of what my holidays were like. I was always happy when Dad picked me up. I was told later by Dad that my stepmother told him, "We will get her whatever it takes. She was ours." I had a very solid social worker, and Dad wanted me to be a part of the decision, so it never happened. One day around time for pickup, Dad was late. That was on purpose. My brother was now in the picture, and my dad considered actually having me live with them. You know, a real family instead of uncle plus grandma. He changed his mind after I cried from the moment we left their driveway until we arrived home. I was so afraid he'd actually leave me there. Now, because my grandmother is still alive, I tried to keep the peace, called on birthdays and stuff, and exactly that happened recently. I called my father, listened for around 30 minutes to all kinds of conspiracy crap and how sad it is that teachers can't properly punish children anymore, and just said as little as possible. For me, the kicker came when it was time to hang up. Father, you could really call more often, not only on birthdays. Me, you know, you have a phone too. Father, haha, nice try, this is your responsibility. My effing what now? He really thinks that. He did not even call me when I was in the hospital in February. I did that to inform him. This is the second time we had the exact same conversation. It's my responsibility to keep a relationship? No, it's his privilege. That was the last call from me ever. I am not property. And I'm rambling, I know. This just weighs heavy on me for all the years I spend trying. I actually have the most amazing dad in the world, and can leave that idiot in the dust. I'm actually working on an adult adoption right now, so that should anything happen to him later in life, I'm not viable for financial support, and he actually becomes my responsibility. Thanks for reading. And our last story. I know the owner. It happened over a decade ago. I worked at a large chain-style burger joint that was decorated with a big golden M. My hometown was one of those smaller cities, I'll just call it a town, that had just about 6,000 people living there, and maybe 3/4 that during the winter when the snowbirds migrated south to their timeshares. Many of the people coming in were regulars that I genuinely enjoyed talking to, and some of them I know their grandkids because they were my age and I went to high school with them. Given the fact that it was a smaller town, everyone knew most everyone as well, so everyone would generally be pretty kind to servers because piss one off, you piss off many more. Anyways, backstory complete. I was working a particularly long day, lots of orders, generally super busy, and getting pretty frustrated. In walks the frumpiest looking old lady I've never seen before. Given the context clues, I'm sure you know where this is going. Me equals me, the burger flipper order taker extraordinaire. Greta equals entitled lady. NM equals nice manager. I'm standing behind the register when Greta walks up to me, skipping 2 to 3 people, mind you, and demands to take her order. Greta, hey you, I need you to take my order now. I need some coffee and something. I don't remember her order. She just kept going while I was in the middle of another couple's order. Me, I'm sorry, I'm in the middle of their order and there are a few others in line waiting as well. Greta, I don't care. I'm in a rush and the damn drive-thru is backed up as well. I have places to be. Me, trying to use my best customer service voice. I'm sure these people have things to do, jobs to be at. They also were here before you, and it would be rude to let someone just jump in without them saying it was okay. Greta, don't you know who I am? I know the CEO of this whole company. I could have your job. Me, oh, well, if you don't mind me asking, what's his name? Greta, since you're probably too stupid to know either way, it's Ronald. At this point, my manager was working her way up front to see what all the yelling was about and just happened to hear that last part. Greta, finally, a manager is here. Tell this dumb crap to get my order put in right away before I give Ronald a call and tell him about the horrible service I'm getting. NM, I'm so sorry about the trouble, lady. Let me call up Mr. Ronald right now and get this sorted out. Since I'm a manager, we have a way to reach out to him directly for issues like this. Greta, starting to get a little red from embarrassment. N, no, don't need to bother him. I'll get going and be back to settle this later. At this point, she scurried off and drove away. After a bit of chuckling and getting through the last of everyone's orders, my manager pointed out that she has tried to do this multiple times, and that was the only consistent way to get her to shut up and go away. I think dementia has something to do with this lady, but still, crazy people. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.